Hey guys. So I think I've let's see, my video quality and sound quality is really bad, I think. So just bear with me, but I think we're live now. So I'm Catholic Mom with Coffee with another episode of Waking You Guys Up to Catholicism. Um, so I got a request to do a video on how there are some things in this world that seem harmless and okay to do, but they're actually very spiritually dangerous for us. So, and this was actually a request from my husband because we had a conversation about how something that he thought was harmless was actually potentially evil. So, here we go. So let's go ahead and start with a prayer. We'll do the St. Michael prayer. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. St. Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle, be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray. And do thou, O Prince of the heavenly host, by the power of God, cast into hell Satan and all the evil spirits who prowl about the world, seeking the ruin of. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. So, like I was saying, that my husband was looking up something he for a medical thing. Just I'm not going to go into it. Anyways, it was something minor, and he was looking into it, just doing some research. And a friend of his recommended, hey, instead of going to the doctor, use essential oils. And I wanted to start with this one first because so basically the whole show, this episode is going to be about how things that seem harmless are actually not harmless. They're pretty evil. So anyways, his friend told him try essential oils. And so when he came to me and told me, hey, I'm going to try this, he could tell by the look of my face, I was upset. I was shocked because little did he know, and I'm sure most of you don't, I figure since he didn't know, figure most of you also didn't know, that essential oils can be bad. And the reason why, even my mom didn't even know about this one, is that there are oils out there. Now, some of them are good. I use oils in my potpourri and my dry flowers to make the house smell nice, right? So that's not what I'm talking about. It's not because you like your fragrance like lavender or like when you go to Bath and Body Works and you buy the oils to make the house smell nice. Not talking about that. I'm talking about the ones like from Young Living and doTERRA. Well, just doTERRA because it's not a good one. All these blends that those two companies make, I know those two companies, Young Living for sure, are bad, and it's because first of all, they're not scientifically proven to actually do any good except smell, and the ones I've smelled, they actually stink. But anyways, there's not here or there, but they don't work scientifically. There's nothing to say that they actually work. Also, they the guy that does, and I can't remember his first name, but the guy that started the company for Young Living actually teaches the people that sell his product to do prayers and blessings over the oils. Now, this is not a Catholic company. The guy that's running these companies are not these guys, I should say, the people that are running these companies are not Catholic. They're not bishops. They're not priests. So they can't do blessings and prayers like they can. So what does that make it? Anyone? Curses. And yes, curses are real. And if we are looking for anything outside the Catholic Church for a blessing or something holy, it's not. It's a curse. So I was looking this up just to have the catechism reference. I ran out of time to look for it in the Bible, but if you want me to leave it a comment in the comment section, and I will look that up later and message you guys. But it says in the Catechism of the Catholic Church. So this is paragraphs 215 to 217. Oh, cool! I have 2 viewers. Yay! That is a first. No one watches this show. Anyways, all forms of divination are to be rejected. So any kind of magic. Oh, now we're down to 1. I scared one away. All forms of divination are to be rejected. So any form of magic is to be rejected. Get rid of it. Superstitions put all power in man and reject God's power. This opens us up to Satan's power. So anything that isn't Catholic that you're looking to help you out spiritually is coming from Satan. So crystals are another thing. And I'm not now. I was watching an episode of Women of Grace, which I don't always watch just because a lot of the women that call in or write in tend to be kind of weepy and mopey and overly emotional. And so I don't get to really hear what Johnette, who's done all the research, has to say about faith. So I don't usually watch her, but I happen to listen in on Wednesday, which is their Wacky Wednesday show, which I recommend men or women go watch, listen to Women of Grace. I know it's Women of Grace, but on Wednesdays, they'll let you know what things that like some of the things I'll be talking about, they'll bring up in their shows on Wednesday about how it's bad and how it's not Catholic and how it can actually be potentially dangerous. But anyways, on their show, they were talking about how essential oils are bad because of the prayers, not really prayers, but they're prayers or blessings that are said that are actually curses. And they also were bringing up the point that some people actually still wear crystals and their birthstones or things like that to get power, but you can't get power. If you ever, those of us who were lived in the 80s and you had, you watched Thundercats and He-Man and they had those powerful swords and they gave them this power. It's not the same thing. Okay. It was a cartoon. Not going to happen for you if you wear a crystal or have, or own something, I can't even think, like essential oils would be another one, or tarot cards or anything that you think you're going to get power from. It's not going to work. It's actually coming from Satan. And so you want to keep away from that. Keep away from it. It is bad news. That's why I titled this Beware Demons Bearing Gifts, because it can seem really awesome and yet it's really dangerous. So let me talk about birthstones and gemstones and things like that. So some people wear crystals and certain gemstones and rocks because they think they have power, and they don't. You can't. They're pretty. I mean, my husband's birthstone is what he gave me for our engagement, for my engagement ring, and I didn't request it. I said, well, hey, because he was thinking about proposing, I could tell. And he's like, well, if I were to get you an engagement ring, what kind of stone would you want? Would you want your birthstone? And I said, no, I want yours. Not because it has anything powerful behind it, but it's the memory behind it. So doing things like that is okay. So for example, some people think turquoise is powerful. It's not. It's just a really pretty rock. It's this bluish green color. And if you wear it because you just happen to like the color, great. But if you're wearing it because you think it'll bring you luck, or like those people that wear the copper bands, it's along the same thing. It's like, it's not going to bring you luck. There's nothing behind it to say that it's going to cure you of anything. It's a bunch of hocus pocus. It really is. It's just superstition. So if you're going to be wearing things like that, make sure that you're wearing it because you think it's pretty, or it is, it reminds you of somebody, or it's like a souvenir from your favorite holiday. Don't wear something or buy something because you think it'll give you good luck, because you can't get that. Let's see, what's another thing? Oh, yoga. This is a big one. And I'll probably get a lot of flack from this one for saying that yoga is bad, but it's bad. I've heard so many people say that, well, I do it for the stretches and it makes me feel good. I'm like, well, great. You know what? Stretching makes me feel good too. Going for a walk makes me feel good. But yoga actually has prayers that I don't remember if it's from the Hindu religion or the Buddhist religion. So if you guys know, leave it in the comments below so I can double check on it. But what's bad about it is that it's bringing in a religion that it's not God. So why do it? And I'll get to reason why we should stay away from this toward say why that some of these things are bad that a lot of us, I shouldn't say us, but a lot of people do that thinks it's good. So yoga is bad because you're saying prayers as you're doing the stretches, and they're not Catholic prayers. I mean, you can stretch and say rosary. You can go for a walk and say the rosary. You can go for a hike and say the rosary. You can pray the rosary while you're at the gym doing yoga, because yoga is, it's why follow another religion that doesn't have the truth by doing their stretches and prayers when you could just go for a walk, weightlift, trying to think, do planks in your own living room while listening to the rosary. I mean, really, why? So don't tell me that, oh, stretching feels good. Yes, you can stretch, you can pray, just don't do yoga, because the types of stretches they're doing are also part of the prayers that come from that Eastern religion, which is very bad. Let's see, what else am I forgetting? Anything else I'm forgetting? There are some things that are pretty obvious that you should stay away from as a Catholic, like Wiccan. which is a type of witchcraft. Anything that has an occult, like, the pentagram with the star and the circles, also, obviously, that's a big sign. Stay away from it. One thing I thought was really shocking, and I found this out. I need to do some more research, but I just found this out recently. Pokemon apparently is not a good thing, which I never really liked Pokemon. I never understood when I was a kid why other kids liked it. As a teacher, it drove me crazy seeing the cards around my classroom. I would never allow them in my classroom. I think they were actually banned at the last school I worked at. But apparently some of the creatures, the Pokemon creatures, actually wear symbols on their head that are, I don't know if they're demonic or what, I don't know. But look into that. I heard that was bad. And I also heard recently, for those of you parents that your kids like Magic Treehouse, apparently, see, I just thought it was all fun and innocent too. There are some things too that I learned about, but there's a book series called Magic Treehouse that's geared for like 2nd to 3rd grade reading level. And I got those for my students when I first started teaching years ago because they're easy to read, they're exciting, it's adventure, it's fantasy, and there's some historical fact behind it. So these kids, if you're not familiar with the series, these kids they climb into this tree house and they can go back in time to history. Well, apparently, according to an episode of Women of Grace's Wacky Wednesday, that book series, the kids actually do spells. So it's kind of similar to Harry Potter, another thing to stay away from. Anyways, so why are all these things bad? These are just a few things that are bad, but why are they bad? Well, first of all, they take us away from God. God should be the center of our life within our families, whether you have, you're a newlywed, or even if you're single and you're by yourself, you still need to have God as number one in your life. So it doesn't matter if you've been married 1 year or 50 years, or you have 1 kid, or you have 12 kids, you need to make sure that God's the center of your life. So anything that's keeping God out of the center of your life, the first important thing in your life, then get rid of it. Get away from it. Another reason why these things are bad is that it's giving the power to us, supposedly. I mean, we can't really get power from these things, but it's a lie. It's coming from Satan that wants control over us so that we don't go to God, because he was the original sinner and said, I don't want to put God first, and I want to do things my way, by God. And look what happened to him. It didn't work out too well for him, did it? And that's what happened with Adam and Eve and everybody else throughout history that obviously sins, with the exception of the Virgin Mary. This takes away power from God and puts it in our hands, which is very, very dangerous. This brings us closer to Satan than it does to God. And this also opens up doors to these bad things. And I know what you're thinking, because I thought the same thing when I was younger. Oh, but it's just fun and games, and it's not really going to hurt anybody. Who's it going to hurt, right? Well, it hurts you because it opens doors. It desensitizes you to evil. The more you allow yourself to be open to these things that are evil. So, for example, if you put, and I know we've heard this analogy, it's a ridiculous amount of times, but I'm going to use it anyways. So you put a frog in a pot of water, and you just room temperature, the frog's not going to jump out, right? It's going to be comfortable. When you start slowly heating up the pot, he's not going to notice, right? He's going to acclimate to it pretty easily until it's boiling, and then you boil him alive. Well, that's what happens to our souls the more we expose ourselves to these things like tarot cards and psychic readings and essential oils and yoga and all these things that seem harmless. Desensitize us, and then you start getting into things that are actually dangerous. They open doors. It's not guaranteed that like you're going to get possessed by the devil or that your house will be haunted if you bring these things in. But I've been in enough situations where I knew people who did these things, and it had effects not just on them, but their kids and their grandkids until, I don't know. It was just, it's bad. It can be generational too. So if you start something, you need to get rid of it. So if you do crystals, if you do essential oils, if you do tarot cards, if you do psychic readings, you are a family member at one point belonged to a Freemason lodge, you need to break yourself from that because it exposes you to that. In the description below, there's also 2 links to 2 videos that I want you guys to do. So for your homework, I'm going to try to keep this short. I know I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about what's bad because I don't want people to get excited like, oh, I'm going to look, try this stuff out. No, don't. Do research as to why these things are bad. So that way you stay away from them and you have a better understanding. So that way if your kids come up to you or friends come up to you or family members come up to you and say, hey, why can't we use these things? Why is it so bad? You can say, well, it's because of XYZ. We don't know if somebody put a curse on these oils, so we're not going to use them. It desensitizes you to evil. You know your family, you know your friends, you know how to explain it to them if you do your research. So that's another thing we need to do. But for your homework, this is what I want you to do. Down below, I have links to 2 videos. One is to a Dr. Taylor Marshall video with he was interviewing or talking with Jesse Romero, who is an author, and he did a lot of work helping out exorcists. And so he has a lot of background. Jesse Romero, not Dr. Taylor Marshall. Jesse Romero has a lot of background with the occult and how to stop it. And so I did a link to that video, one of their interviews, videos that talk about how these things can lead to possession, which is not a guarantee that this will happen. Like if you do, and these are more on the extreme side, like Ouija boards, which should be obviously evil, and you should obviously know that that's a bad thing. But how these can lead to horrible, horrible tragedies and evil things that can happen into your family. So I left a link for that so you can understand that this can happen, like possessions can happen, hauntings can happen if you expose yourself to these evil things. But to make it, so we are not leaving on a scary note, have a happy ending. Sorry. I think I need more coffee. My mouth is dry. It's hot in here, and Nevada is finally getting warm. Anyways, so I'm saying anyways a lot. I am so sorry. So the second video that I want you to watch for your homework, this is the teacher in me, I have to assign homework, is Grace Force. And it's, oh my goodness, not again. Greg Barry and Father, is it Heilman? Father Heilman, I believe. Okay, I probably just messed up their names. But click on Grace Force. Both of these videos are more geared for men. Their audience usually tends to be men, but I listen to them. I like them. They have a lot of good information. But the second video is about what you can do to prevent all these things to happen. So from happening, I'm sorry. So one of them, where did it go, is praying the rosary on a regular basis. We need to be praying every single day for our family and friends, even if they're not Catholic. It doesn't matter. You can still pray for people. So make sure you're praying the rosary. I just found this today. I'm so excited. I have tons of rosaries. I feel like they multiply like rabbits in our house. If you're a Catholic, or I should say, if you're a convert to Catholicism and you're brand new to Catholicism and you haven't realized this yet, your rosaries multiply like the loaves and fishes. All of a sudden, they're there. It's weird. Anyway, so this was my grandfather's rosary. It's just a plastic red and white rosary. I thought I lost it years ago, and it turned out I just found it. So this is really cool. My grandfather passed away in 1992, and he was the only grandfather I met, and he loved the rosary. He was always praying for his family. So I try to be more like him and pray the rosary every day. And so this is something we need to be doing every day, is praying the rosary. Another thing, I got this book. I forgot which publishing company this comes from, but this is Spiritual Warfare Prayers. And yes, we are at war with the devil. Don't worry, we win. Ultimately, God let us know that we win. But there's all kinds of prayers like breaking curses. So if if you feel like you've had some issues in the past, or you know that family or friends have been involved in the occult, or done even just simple things like the yoga, which isn't as scary or dangerous as being involved like in witchcraft and things like that, but it's pretty bad. But they have like denouncing the occult prayers, prayers against evil. Let's see, there's some really good prayers in here. Spiritual canopy. So you're asking for a spiritual. These are, and you're in every prayer against trafficking witches. So every prayer in here, if you know, it starts off with. It's not supposed to be it's not superstitious to pray against evil. I promise you, this is a good thing to do. But all of these prayers start with asking for Jesus's help. So demonic influences like alcoholism and adultery, homosexuality, staying away from that. Healing your family lineage. There's a prayer for that in there. So you should be praying for your deceased family members too, in case they were having problems with things like that in their past. Reading the Bible on a regular basis is also important. I need to do that more. So I actually got mine out right next to me so I can start doing this once this is over, so I can actually spend some time reading the Bible. So doing that, making sure, another way to stay away from evil things, to make sure that you're safe spiritually and that your family is by receiving the sacraments on a regular basis. So the more we do things like yoga and essential oils and buying crystals and all these things that are bad, that leads us further away from Christ, right? So if we're going to confession on a regular basis, like once a month even, just go once a month. Remember, go back to that video about going to confession. I think that was last week's. Last week's video about going to confession. So go to confession on a regular basis, at least once a month. You can go more if you want, but make an appointment with your priest to go once a month at the bare minimum, and then go to Mass as often as possible. If you have daily Mass, try to go as often as you can, and definitely need to go every Sunday. And I know it's hard on a lot of Sundays. Being a parent, I know it's not easy getting kids ready to go to Mass. They get bored. My son had a meltdown for him at Mass this last Sunday because he was just bored and tired. He didn't want to be there. He wanted to play around on the floor. Well, then when he's doing that, then he's playing with the kneeler and the book stuff. It's not easy. It's distracting. But the more they're there, the more they get used to going, and then more they get excited about going. I mean, if he sees a statue of Jesus, he knows it's Jesus, and he'll point to him because we talk about him. So you make sure that your family's going to Mass on a regular basis. You're going to confession on a regular basis. You are praying every day, all day long. It's not hard to incorporate prayer. I thought it would be, as a first-time mom, incorporating prayer into a daily life with a little baby. It's not hard. It really isn't. It's surprising. Once you start, it's amazing how easy it is to keep going. So I used to hate praying the rosary. I prayed every day. I can't always carry the beads with me because, if I said in previous videos, my son likes to hit me with them because he likes to swing them around. He likes the noise it makes. I don't blame him. So I have to play it on YouTube to listen to it. So that way, when I'm trying to get him to calm down for a nap, he sometimes goes down for a nap with a rosary. So I can get at least a rosary in. And if he doesn't want to take a nap that morning, then I, pray it anyways. And, or I save it for the afternoon. I'm always praying for my family members. I'm praying for my friends. Another thing you can do, especially if you're on social media, which most of us are, make sure that when somebody asks for prayers, you just say a quick prayer and say, please God, just, they have a prayer that they need answered, just be with them. So the more we pray, the more we receive in sacraments on a regular basis, the closer we get to God, and the less likely we get exposed to evil things, and we're more aware of what can actually tear us away from God. So if you're not educating yourself and not looking into why these things are bad, you make yourself more available for Satan to take over your life. So make sure that you're always surrounding yourself with good things. So make sure that you're surrounding yourself with like religious medals to remind you to ask for help, like I do. I wear my St. Philomena medal a lot, just so I remember to be brave like her with my faith. Have prayer cards around that you can say a quick prayer that are usually on the back so that you remember to pray on a regular basis. Say your rosary. Read the Bible, receive the sacraments, and it'll keep you closer to God. And when bad things do happen, then you don't stress out about them as long. It's easier to get through them. The further away you are from God, the harder it is to get through tragedies and scary things in your life. So stay away from stuff that keeps you away from God. It's not worth it. It's like, seriously, do you really want to go run across the highway? It's like, well, you may not get hit by a car, but do you really want to try that? It's like, that's the same thing with doing all this stupid yoga, Pokemon, stuff stuff and Ouija boards and tarot cards and psycho. That's pretty much what it is. Psychic readings, things like that. Just stay away from it. Surround yourself with good Catholic things. It doesn't mean you can't enjoy secular things. Like you can go, my husband and I enjoy playing board games like Scrabble and things like that and Rummy. And I mean, it's not like you can't go have fun. Doing it responsibly. Always keep Christ at the center of your life. Okay, so homework again. Daily Rosary. Go watch those 2 videos. Start with the Taylor Marshall one because it kind of exposes you to what to look out for and how it can turn scary quickly. Then go back and watch Grace Force and see how you can actually prevent all of that stuff from happening, all these little things. They're each an hour long, I believe. So now the first one you might not want to watch with your kids, those of you especially who have younger kids, because some of the stuff is very scary and graphic. As far like they don't show anything, but some of the descriptions that Jesse Romero had to deal with are scary. So don't watch it with young children. I would say I would even be hesitant unless you know your kids really well, even about showing it to high school kids, just because I'm always worried that somebody's going to get excited about watching something that could be, I don't want it to be like sensationalized, evil to be sensationalized. So just make sure you're staying away from junk that is not Catholic. So yeah, just be very careful about who you watch the Taylor Marshall, Jesse Romero video with, because it does get very intense. Watch it with your spouse, definitely, if you haven't already. So my husband, that's your homework too. Watch those 2 videos, not just mine. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you click the like and subscribe button below. And share this video and any other Catholic videos, not just my channel, but any other Catholic videos that you think will help others come closer to God. That's our goal. That's why I started this channel, is because I got sick and tired of parents saying, I know my faith, and it's just too hard to be Catholic. No, it's not actually. It's a lot easier to be Catholic than anything else. So make sure you're sharing and liking any Catholic video on YouTube that you think will be helpful for other people. So watch those 2 videos, pray your rosary, and I'll see you guys next week. Bless.